we'll be doing a recap on what we have learned using a practical-based approach this time around. So we are based model development, and we'll be using a case study of an illegal extension on government scheme in Nigeria. So we'll be considering only one estate. We want to see a relationship between some entity in an illegal extension scheme. So for this work, today's agenda will be database modeling overview. That's the first thing we will look at. Then we look at our dataset editing and cross-checking. There are some data that has been sent to us. We are going to look at those data together, what their attributes are. Then we will use that to create a database schema. Then from there, we are loading data into Geodatabase. Then we will now create subtype implementation on that Geodatabase. After that, we start to create a relationship class. Then from there, we publish our map as a web map on Arcgis Pro. So with that being said, let me go into the let me share one of my drawing. So let me go into the database modeling. Now, I hope we can see I still have my screen on. Did I still have my screen on? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Hello? Hello?
We can see your screen.
Okay. Okay.
Only
no
your screen now.
I just want to know. Now, the data sent to us, we have shape files in those data. And in that shape file, we have government scheme, we have parcels that are in government schemes. Then we have blocks that are in government scheme. Also, we have encroachment that are also in that government scheme. So now, to start with, let me open my Arcgis Pro. Once you open your Arcgis Pro, if you have not logged in before, it will ask you to log in. But if you have logged in before, if your authentication has not expired, you will log in automatically. So everyone has to have created an account with them now. I think it will last 60 days. So this is my Arcgis Pro. I want to create a new project on it. So I will go to map under new blank template, then map. Once I click on map, it will tell me to name my project. So I want to name this project geospatial on illegal extension or training. Let me put training. So then I will the directory where I want this project to be saved. I want it saved on my desktop inside the geodata, that's the data I sent. I want it saved on this folder. So I click OK, then create for this project. I can uncheck and check this. If I want it to create a new folder, I check this. But I want it to create a new folder for this project in this directory. So I will click OK. So see, it's generating a new project for me. So when this is done, let me quickly go, before this will be done, let me quickly go to my database model. Now, in this case, okay, you see that the project is now loading. We'll come back to this in a moment. Let me quickly go to the database modeling. Now, for the database, I have the following entity: parcel, encroachment, scheme, and I have blocks. All these entities are related, and no attribute, no non-spatial data is in this entity. Although this project can be extended to a lot of non-spatial data, especially when we start bringing ownership into it. Like as you see, owner's ID. This owner's ID can be a primary key in in a table contain all the owners. So, but for now, just to limit the work so that it won't take us much time, I will only be using this spatial entity that are related together. Now, the scheme cover all of them up, and each scheme has its own ID. We create ID for each estate that government owns, and this ID becomes the primary key for this table. So another entity he has, another field he has is the name. What is the name of the estate? So these are the two he has. This P-link ID is the parcel link ID, but it's a foreign key that is coming from another table or from another entity. And as you can see, it's coming from this parcel. So now that's on scheme. What next to the scheme is the block. The block, every block in every scheme has its own block ID. And how do we generate this block ID? This block ID was generated using the mid easting and the mid northing of that block, and that makes it unique. Every block, there is no block that will have the same mid center point or century like this. We will see it in our practical where then I load in those data. So that's how this block ID is being generated. Now, every block has its own name, like block A, block B. So the reason why we are not using block name as the primary key is that we can go into another scheme and we have the same block A, block B, so it's not unique any longer. So we need a unique key for our primary key. So that's why we choose a block ID, which is a centroid of that block as our block ID. I will show us in our project as we move on. Now, another attribute this block have is the size in square meter. So every other attribute is coming from another table, like the estate ID is a foreign key. It's a foreign key to the scheme. Then the status is another attribute of this block. The status can be two. It's either it's an existing block or it's a missing block, because that's the situation on ground. We have some some block that are missing on government plan, while we have some block that is on grant. So those one that are missing, maybe the one that we don't have their survey details, they are missing. So we have two categories here under status: missing block and existing block. So these are the things we are going to be solving as we proceed. Now, the next on the on in this hierarchy is the parcel. Now, for parcel, we have link ID. How do we generate this ID? It's also a centroid of each parcel. We will look at it later. So, and one of the attributes of every parcel is that it must have estate ID. It must have plan number. It must have a street name. It must have a block ID. Remember, this block ID is linked to this block here. Can you see the relationship now? It must have a block ID. It must have a block number. It must have size in square meter. Then it must have an owner's ID. Although we don't have the table of owner here, just not to expand the scope of the work. So that is for parcel. Now, encroachment. Encroachment is when they give them, when they allocate all these parcel for all these plots for owners, owners went ahead. You know, this is a case study in Lagos where people can feel, they start feeling water body just to extend their land. Owners went ahead and they started extending their land, which is against the previous layout given to them. So we have an encroachment, and inside this encroachment we have encroachment link ID, which is a centroid of that encroachment also. So each parcel can have a one-to-one relationship with an encroachment, and it may not be common to all the parcel because not all parcel encroach, but any parcel that encroach must have a one-to-one relationship with its encroachment. So one of the attributes of the encroachment is that it has a link ID, which is a foreign key to the parcel, to the original parcel, to the parent parcel. Then we have the size in square meter. Oh, sorry. We have size in square meter. Then block ID. Which block does this encroachment belong? You see that there is a relationship between this encroachment, which is block ID, and the block now. So we establish all this relationship with relationship class later. So then we have the parent plot number. The parent plot number, that means if this encroachment, if government wants to grant this encroachment to the person that actually extend it, the plot number that you will still be having will still be linked to this parcel. So that's why we have parent plot number. Then there is this DN1, DN2. These are non-spatial data that will be added to this encroachment. And what is this DN? DN means demand notice. Demand notice by the government that, oh, you have taken more than your land and you have to pay some so amount. So a demand notice will be served to them. It has been served almost 2 times. So this will be a PDF file linked to this encroachment. But we are not going to be doing that today. And also because of the confidentiality in that document, I was unable to send this. But anytime we want to do image linking or document linking, I will let us know. But we will not be doing that today, but it will be in our attribute table for the encroachment. So now that is model. Now, if you look at this, except this parcel and encroachment that has a one-to-one relationship, every other relationship, like the relationship between the scheme and the block, is one-to-many. It's one-to-many. That is to say, there can be many blocks in a scheme. Now, also, there can be many parcels in a scheme, so it's one to many also. There can be many parcels in a block, so it's one to many also. So every other relationship, even encroachment, there can be a lot of encroachment in a block. So we have one to many relationship. We can see this live when we start the project. So these are the things I want us to know with this modeling, and I will be referencing it as I move forward. Back to Arcgis Pro. This is Arcgis Pro. It will, once you open it, it will always come with its own base map like this. But me, I don't like using this base map most times. I like using my own base map that I design with Mapbox. Let me see. Let me quickly go to Mapbox just to teach us how to link our own custom base map with Arcgis Pro to have a better look, and also it has a relationship. How do we get those extensions that people have? Because this custom map box is a customized orthophoto that was done in 2009 in Lagos State. So let's look at this. Let me go to Studio, Above Studio. If you want to use this map box, you have to register with them, and it's free to some extent, but it's not free once it become a production use. So me, I have a base map I customize here. I call it Bostech Interspatial. This is the base map. This is the base map I will be using. So let me just go straight away and share it. I can share it here, share my style, and I want to share it with Arcgis, with a third party, and I want to share it as WMT service. So I will copy this link ID, then I will go back to my Arcgis Pro. So inside Arcgis Pro, I will go to server, coming. We go to server. Where's my server? Under insert, you see connection. So you see we can connect to a lot of things. You can connect to a file geodatabase. But what I want to use now, I want to connect to this server. That's WMTS server. So I will create a new one. Then I will paste the link I copy from my Mapbox. Then click OK. So this will add another server under, it will add server to my add catalog. You see, Arcgis Pro, I'm supposed to even introduce us a bit to it, is just the new generation of Arcgis desktop. Very soon, S3 will drop Arcgis desktop because Arcgis Pro is almost developed to almost 95% of what they want to achieve. It can even do more than Arcgis desktop for now, and it can do a lot of analysis, especially when it comes to data science, geospatial data science. So using Ribbon for his dialog, as you can see, you want to go to map, see, just as if you are using Word Word, Microsoft Word. It uses ribbon, imagery, share, if you want to share it as a web map. And it can connect straight away to your Arcgis online. So you have to buy a license for it. Like this, the one I'm using is on my organization license for now. So as you register, even for free, they will give you 100 units, and you cannot exploit or exhaust that 100 units before you will finish all your training or before the time will expire. So that is on Arcgis Pro. Maybe later on, when in our subsequent training, I will into it. It's very easier to use and more versatile. So now, to continue with what I'm saying concerning adding my own new base map, as you can see under server now, and I have my Mapbox API, mapbox.com. So if I double click this, I click on this, you see my base map now. I can now click on this and say add to the current map. So it has been added. So now you can see it changes. Then I want to remove all these topographic map that comes by default. I don't need it any longer. I don't need this one also any longer. So this is what I need now. This is my own custom map which I have created. And this is what I want to use. Go to Lagos here. You see, as you are zooming out, you see now another layer of imagery is coming in. So you see it's different from every other part. So these are the parts that I just load the imagery as a web tile for now. See Banana Island coming out. So you see the resolution is different. So zoom in, get more clear. So this is the type of imagery I want to use, and because this is the imagery they use to determine those extensions. That encroachment. So now, next thing is I want to add my data to the map. You know, don't forget, our data is presently a shapefile. We have not created any geodatabase for now. You see, all these data are shapefile, which is we are all familiar with shapefile. So we want to start creating relationship and so this is the folder I created when I started a new project. Let us not forget. So now, when you look at Arcgis Pro, if you come to database, you see it creates one good thing with Arcgis Pro is that it creates a geodatabase for you straight away once you create a new project in Arcgis Pro. And this is the database. Now, if you look at this database, it's empty for now. Nothing is inside. If you like, you can rename it, but you give it the project name by default, which I will use it like that. So, but if you like, you can rename this database. So this is the database we are going to be using. Now, I want to inspect my data. That is the next thing in my agenda. If you look at our agenda when I first start, is what? To edit and cross-checking our data set. So let's do that. Let's add some of our data. So when you want to add data, just like Arcgis desktop, you just go to add data, then come to data, then navigate to where your data is. For me, I have it on desktop under data geo. Then you can see that the four attributes, the four entities represented in shapefile are present in that folder. So, firstly, I want to add government scheme so that you can just take a look at how the government scheme look like. So, you see now, this is the government scheme. All the government scheme we have, like this Banana Island is a scheme. This is Power View. This is so we have many of them like that. If you click on them, it will give you the name. This is Osborne. This is Osborne. So we have other ones and so on like that. So now this is government view scheme. This is just their perimeter. Now I don't want it filled up like this. So I can, if you check, let me just go to the attribute table. See, when you open the attribute table, it open underneath like this, but you can change their its location. You can drag it and change it. But in this attribute table, you can see that we have shape. This is the polygon by default. Now, the name now. If you look at our model, we have name in our model for scheme. Then we have estate ID. These are the estate ID created. Like Lekki one, we have LKP 10. So this is the estate ID. This estate ID is now serving as a primary key to this table by the time we start loading it in our database. So now, this is what we have. This estate, this is the attribute in regards to government scheme. So this is scheme entity now. Now let me load in another data. I can close this for now since we have looked at it. Let me load in another data. The next on the list is block. I only have block for only one. See, this is for Power View. So we are using Power View as our case study today. So this is the block. If you open the attributes, you see that all has been set. See, we have block ID. This is what I'm saying the other time. This is concatenation of the mid-east, eastern, and northern. So for every plot, let's say this is a block now. I just get the central. There's a way of doing that in Arcgis, but that's not our focus today. I get the central and I now concatenate the coordinates together. So it makes it unique. There's no any other place that we have that same mid point. So that's why I'm using that approach. If you look at this place now, they are not, there's no duplicate. So this field, block ID, can serve as my primary key in my relationship, which I will be creating data. So you see now it has a block name like extension 2, block 2, block T's plus 2. You see now, assuming I use block name as the primary key, you see now it's already colliding. So I don't want to do that. So then the size in square meter, the estate ID, which is you see PKV04, that's purview. That's the estate ID, which is primary key to that estate. It's now serving as a foreign key to that estate. We will see it later now. So we have the normal, which is the shape length, the shape area. Then we have status. I want to talk more on this status. You see that under status we have 1111111. Later we will create a subtype when we get to subtype, and you will see how this thing actually comes live easy, so that when you are loading any other data or any other estate, they fit in. We will see, because we have to create a standard for our data. So the standard here is that 1 is representing an existing block, while 0 is representing a missing block. You see that we only have 1 and 0. So later on we will tell us how to use this in Subtype. So let me close that and load in the next data.
We have less than 5 minutes, so in case we are logged out, we will log in again.
Okay, sir. So let me load in the next data, which is pass-through. You see now, this is pass-through now. Let me quickly go to the attribute table. Now, in the attribute table, you see all what I modeled before, except the default things that Arcgis we always add, but it doesn't affect our database modeling. We say I have plan number, I have block number, I have street name, I have block ID, I have owner's ID, I have estate ID. These are things I have in my database model. Then I have the what parcel link ID, which is also a concatenation of easting and northing of the parcel, which is of the central point of the parcel. So, and this will be serving as my primary key. So, other we have size, just as I have it in my database model. So, if we on our lectures time can take a look at that in detail. So that is what we have for now. Now, let me load in the last data, which is the encroachment. This is encroachment shapefile. So also you see now, this is the encroachment they make, and you see they extend. These are water body, so people start feeling they are just starting, and they just start extending unknownly to government. So that now our government wants to claim those places.
Can you use different colors, please, so that we will see the
yes, I will still use it. I will remove all of them by the time
no. I mean, if you can change the color palette maybe for us to just
the
way it is being overlaid to see the extent of encroachment.
Property. Let me represent it as red. You can see now. So that means this person encroach almost times 2 of what they gave him. Can you see? Even he has even extend more. Can you see? Because we determine this using their perimeter fence. Can you see? The person has extend, and this is the normal plot he has. So those are the things we want to investigate, and you can see now. So this is a lot of money, because to buy this type of land in Lagos, it's money. So that is that. Now let me go to the steps. The next one is database schema creation. We'll be in this schema creation, and what I will be doing there is I will be using my database now, but I will remove. Then I want us to know something before I go to that. You see that when I load block, it just load them all of them with one color. By the time we start modeling our database now, you will see what we have, but I will remove all these shapefile because I will not be using them. Let me remove them all. I'm removing them. I will still come back to them later. The only thing I will not remove is my base map. So I will be working with Art Catalog now. See, I've removed all my database. I want to load those data instead of adding it straight away. I want to load it as a database. I want to load it in our database. And first thing to do is to create schema, feature classes. But I want to go in a very short way, because since I have the shapefile, I can load this straight away into it. So what I will just do is create a new feature class. And number one, the feature class I will be creating is scheme. That's the scheme, the government scheme. I want to continue from where I stopped. What I'm doing presently is to have I'm in the third stage, which is the database schema creation. So after that, I will be going to loading data into database. So what I want to do now, I want to create a schema for all these entities. So the first one I want to create is the scheme. So which is the government scheme. So I give it schemes. Then under the alliance, I hope we can still remember that. I want to name it government scheme so that it makes sense. Government schemes. Now is polygon. So next. Oh yeah, just click finish. Okay, it will be okay. Now this schema has been created, but one thing with this is that I didn't create the feed for it. I didn't create feed for it, so it's an empty schema now. But I want to load data straight away to it. So loading data, I will tell my operation to load the scheme just as the data I'm loading in. So if I say load data now, I want to load scheme data into it. So I want it to inherit from that shapefile the schema that is in that my time. I can create those feeds manually by clicking next, but you notice that I just click finish straight away. So now it's asking me for the input data set. So let me browse to where it is. I think it's special folder. Let me go. It's under desktop. So under desktop data. So this is government scheme. I take it in. Then target data set is scheme by default. So input schema must match target scheme. I don't, because I have not created any schema. So input schema, that is the schema that is coming from this one, must match target schema. I don't want to use that option. If I use that option, to give me error because it won't match, because I didn't create any schema. So I want to use the feed map to recognize schema difference. So that's what I want to use, so that I just save myself a lot of time. You see now it has recognized the schema coming from the shapefile I'm loading in. So I can click. If you like, you can do enable undo in case maybe there's an error you want to undo. Just click run. See, it has processed. Then I have my government scheme loaded into my database. So I can close all these doors. Just go back here. This is my scheme now. Now let me, you see now it has been added straight away. I'm coming. Oh, should be another. Let me check. There's a problem. Oh, sorry, doesn't ask properly. Let me try and redo something. I'm coming. Remove. Then let me remove this also or delete it. I don't know. It has an error. Yes. Sorry, I'm coming. Let me close the project and quickly reopen. You're still using some damn data at the account. So okay, let me go back to it. Okay, it's loading up now. So just as I left it, see my base map is still there. So I want to delete this. I don't know why he's hooking it before. That's why. So I want to delete it. I want to repeat another one, or I want to use another method, and I want to use import feature class. I think that one will be okay for me. Import feature class. The first method I use, assuming I have my time, I will create my schema properly because it's changing my data. That's why it's not loading in my view. So I want to import a feature class. Then I will input the feature class name, which is from the desktop. Yeah, Geodatabase and its government scheme. Then I will give that feature class a name, which is scheme. Let me copy this. Being lazy, just put this here. Scheme. That will be the name of that feature class now. Then run. There's no any other thing to change. Just run. So you see now that's loaded it straight away. So that is for scheme. So if you click on property for this, you can now change it to, you can change its alliance and put government scheme. Click OK. So next time you are adding this, you will use that alliance. Let me remove it and add it again. Remove. Then add to current map. See now it's now using that alliance for them. So that is the essence of the alliance, just to quickly understand this. So I will do that, go through the same procedure for the other feature class. So I want to import another feature class, and that one will be block this time around, and I will import block. So by importing that feature class, we inherit the schema of that shapefile straight away. So same name, block, blocks. Let me just quickly type blocks. So I just click run. See, the process is done. Now it has loaded block inside. See now, see the way it load the block. It is not by the time we proceed now and start create subtype, you will see the difference. See, but it loaded all of them as if they are the same thing because we have not added behavior to that database. So I'm coming. Let me load other ones. Import feature class again. I want to load in plot. Yes, parcel. Name also will be parcel. Parcel. That will be the name. So just say run. So it has load my parcel. Then I also want to load another one here, and the next one is the encroachment. Then I give you name encroachment, and sorry, encroachment. So that's done. Then I click run. It run the process for me, and you see that it has loaded in the encroachment. So that's it. So we have all the entity we are now in our geodatabase. What next? What next is to create the subtype. And which of these data we have subtype? When we look at our schema database model, we discover that this one, blocks, we have subtype because we have some missing block. While we have some existing block that are existing on the plan, on the original layout, but we have some missing block. So this status, we have to add the behavior to the geodatabase so that geodatabase, anytime we load in our block, we can quickly differentiate between these two. So that is what we are going to do now. So to do that, we right click here and go to design. I hope you can see it. Right click, go to design and go to what? Subtype. If you don't have, one thing I want us to know, let me quickly go to that my presentation here. One thing I want us to note is that when we are creating subtype, we have subtype work with field that only have integer and long integer as their data type. It's taking you the time to load. Okay, I think it's loaded now. I'm coming. So now let me we are in subtype implementation now. So I want you to take me to some notes. I highlighted some notes so that we can quickly understand what subtype means. Okay. Now we have some keynote and rules for subtype. Subtype field is used to categorize feature in the layer. So the layer we are talking about now in this case study is the block. We want to classify them, we want to categorize them. So subtype may only be defined for one field in table. So it can both be applied to a feature class or a table. So, and the field must be a short or long integer field. So now, another thing is that for efficiency, the subtype field type, the subtype field store an integer value. Like you see in my block under my status, I only store them 1010 to have two subtype. So and maintain an internal associated lookup table. So we create a lookup table that it will be maintaining. Hello? Hello?
Yep.
Hello,
We
are we
can hear
together
you.
now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, the thing logged me out a bit. I think my internet is.
The network, yeah, it's a problem.
So now, also, can we see my screen now? Also.
Yeah, I can see it.
Hello?
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So now, to continue. In this manner, the geodatabase does not maintain multiple copies. So it helps us not to have a redundancy, multiple copies of the same data all over. So does not maintain multiple copies of the same subtype description, but uses a many-to-one relationship to associate a description to all future categories. So Internally, the database will be using many-to-one relationship to associate. We see it in a practical sense. Let me go back to my Arcgis Pro, and inside Arcgis Pro, don't forget I have come to Subtype. And when you see, look at this now, see that we are Subtype for long. So we have to create a subtype. So if you look at this place, see create or manage. So we have to create a subtype for this block. I hope we didn't forget how I get here. Let me go back. I close it. Come to design and go to what? Subtype. So under this subtype, if we open this for us, then we can create a subtype. So subtype feed, you want us which of the feed will be subtype and its status. So you see now, it doesn't have any value for now. So I will be adding value. Code number 1 is 0. It's representing missing plot. Sorry, missing block. That's the description. So this is a lookup table that it will be maintaining, that the database will be maintaining internally as we run it. So we are now adding a behavior to our database now, and we will see it in a moment. So now that's that. I have to create another one. Enter. Just press enter to implement that. So the next one is 1. When we have code 1, that one is representing existing. Sorry, don't mind my spelling. Let me just existing blocks or existing blocks. So that's the type we want to have. I don't think. Okay, I think I'm okay now. Existing block. I just press OK. So we have 2 types. 0 code. We are telling our database that anywhere you see 0 in this future class, attach message. Anywhere you see 1, attach existing block to it. Then we just click OK. You see now it has highlighted our status as our what? Subtype. So that is the changes he has added now. So we can click save. Now let me close this. I don't know. Do we see what happened? Let me remove block on here and reload block to it. Let me remove all so that we can see what will happen. So let me remove all these. I can add it later. I want to add block. This is the block that has subtype. I want to add it to the current map. Do you see what happened? It has categorized every feature in that feature. Now you see that we have missing block to be green, light green, then existing block to be in this color. So that is the essence of subtype. Now that subtype, we still have domain, but I will not be going into domain today because of the complexity. Maybe later on, if God will, I will look into domain. It's another way of adding behavior to our database. Now, next in my agenda here is to create relationship class. So let me go to that. To create a relationship class, I have to ask myself, how many relationships do I have? Number one, I have a one-to-one relationship for every parcel and encroachment. I have to create a class for that. I have a relationship between parcel and schema. I have relationship between parcel and blocks, and I also have relationship between block and encroachment. I have relationship between scheme and encroachment. Almost how many relationship? Number one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a relationship between block and scheme also. So we have 6 relationships, and we have to create this relationship that we add behavior to our database, so that when we query, you can ask that query to tell you which estate does this one belongs to, which block does this one belongs to. You can do a lot of query, and by the time you put it on, you publish your map, you will see easily you can be making query on your dashboard. So that is what we want to do. Now, to do that, I will just go to my Geodatabase, just like the manual I've released the other time, although that manual is using Arcgis desktop, yet the same thing, just a very little changes. Just right click on this Geodatabase and go to new. You see what? Relationship class. Now, I have to choose my origin table. Now, we have to structure what we want to do. Firstly, I want to create a relationship between parcel and encroachment. Now, the origin, it's like I'm going from this encroachment, I want to add it to this parcel, although it's another type of data. So my origin here will be encroachment, and my destination table will be parcel. So let's do that. Let me choose my origin, which is let me load it from the database. Sorry, I have to go to the database now. That is encroachment. Select encroachment. Then destination. My destination, or rather, I'm coming. Let me quickly do something here. Let me go to catalog. Let me add all the layers that I have removed. Add to current map. Then scheme, add to current map. Block, add to current map. Block, add to current map. Okay, I'll have block already. Remove that. I have block already. Parcel. Let me put this scheme down here so that it will not slip on. Okay. Then I can make the scheme Olu so that, let me just use outline for it. So it's in black outline now. I can change the color so that you can see. Let me put it red because it's perimeter. Let me choose another red. Perimeter, apply. So that's that. Then what again I want to change here? I want my parcel to be in red outline also. So I want to use red. Let me use bespoke. No. Let me use this. Then let it be in red. Or let me just leave it like that, black. So let me go back to my processing. Now I have selected my origin table. Select my destination table. If you just put your mouse around this icon here, it will tell you the meaning of this destination table. Say the table that is associated to the origin table. So the table associated to it is parcel. So it automatically gives this relationship a name, encroachment parcel. As you can see, it gives it a name, encroachment parcel. Then the relationship type, we have simple. If you look at here, we have simple and we have composite. A simple relationship between independent objects, parent to parent. But when we look at this relationship between extension, legal extension, that's encroachment, and the parcel, can we say it's simple? Can we say they are independent of each other? No, because later on we'll be doing some relationship. So we'll be using composite. So that's a relationship between dependent objects. It's depending on this. Oh, they have given you land before, and they give you so size, but you extend it. So it's depending on that. So I will be using composite relationship type. Now, another thing is cardinality. The relationship between them is 1-to-1. So I will leave it as 1-to-1. Now, every other thing, we now have to select the primary key. The primary key for the origin table. And the primary key for the origin table it will be key for the origin table. So I think that is parcel link. Then we choose parcel link here for the origin table. So that is the link that we establish when we look at our database. You see, parcel is a foreign equipment has its own primary key. Parcel link is the foreign key to it. So while parcel link in parcel is primary key. We can just sit down with this if it is not clear and still replay this video. So now we have a successful relationship class created. So when you go to the class has been created.
We have
So
we have
sorry,
well, we have less than 10 minutes. So I don't know if we will finish within 10 minutes. Is it possible?
Okay. It's not possible.
Okay.
They have like 4 relationships to create.
And like how long will it? Let me before we proceed, maybe let me ask everyone, or if we can just continue from there next week. Please, I have unmuted.
Okay.
Everyone, what do you think?
Okay.
Can I hear your suggestion, Joel, Emeka, Chima, or Bijon? What do you guys think?
Our time is gone.
Please, can we hear your suggestion? Nuruddin, what do you think? Because we don't want to exceed 1 hour. Can we stop where we stop? Then we continue next week. So I will just wait for the video. I will just combine the 3 of them together since it is the same series. Can I hear your opinion? Or Emeka? Hello? It's like nobody is talking.
Or they have network issue.
Yeah, maybe. John, can you say something? What do you think?
I think we can stop here and continue next week.
Okay.
Seems like the network is not too.
Hello.
Yes, a lot of people have been logged out. Okay, so where is stop? Bolara, you just
I
take
see.
note of that. So we'll just continue. So I will not put the video this week. I'll just wait until we finish. So we will start immediately from where we stopped next week. So continue, please.
Okay. So I can continue till the time.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the next thing I want to do now is to create a relationship between my encroachment and scheme, which is the cardinality is 1 to many. 1 to many. That is, I can have many encroachments inside a scheme. So let me quickly do that. So that means I'm going from this is my origin scheme, the encroachment. Right click on this, go to new relationship class. So we have to select from where to where, encroachment. I have not added encroachment. Let me add this encroachment to my view so it can be easy for me. Add it to it. Let me make it red. Red field. So these are the encroachment I have. So now let me go back to my view processing. Then use encroachment destination table is blocks. I don't know what I want to do. Blocks. Oh, sorry, scheme. Destination table is scheme. That's government relationship. Now, the relationship between them is simple because they didn't affect each other. And scheme will always be scheme. It's just scheme is just containing the encroachment. So there is no any direct influence on each other. So it will be simple. Then the forward path label will be scheme, then encroachment. Then we have to select the primary key. So what will be the primary key? For encroachment, we have inside that encroachment, we have what we call the estate ID. So we use estate ID. So when we look at this table, you see that we have estate ID as the primary key. So which is a foreign key to our encroachment, as we can see. Now, that's what we just established here. Our primary key is estate ID for both the origin. So I don't have any other thing to set here. I will just say run, and it will run the process. You see now, it has done the processing. Let me quickly show you the result. Now we have created two classes now. Encroachment parcel, then encroachment scheme. Let me show you what this means. Let's see it in reality now. Let me click on select. Let me select rectangle. Now we have this relationship, encroachment scheme. Let me click on one encroachment now. I have selected one encroachment. Let me go to the attribute table. So the one selected is this. So now, if I want to see its relationship to the scheme, which scheme does it belong? Which scheme does this encroachment that I selected belong? You click on this menu bar and click on related data. You see now, it has a related data with parcel. If I click on this, it will give me the parcel that encroach. that holds that encroachment or that have that illegal extension. Let me click on it. You see, we have that parcel here, and that parcel has a plot number, it has a street name. So this is relationship. You see, now we have established a relationship. So I can also say, okay, which scheme does it belong? Show related data, which is encroachment. You see, now we can see that this show related data, government scheme. Now, if I make any mistake, it's supposed to show me there. Okay, I think I have made mistake. Let me. Okay, he has select. You see, now he even give me the plot now. Oh, this is the plot that holds this encroachment. So that is the essence of relationship class. I can clear this. Let me reselect. I want to know. Let me click on select. I want to know for this. Let me go to attribute table before our time we go. Go to the one I selected. Then show me related data in regards to government scheme. Oh, there might be an error there. I think we correct that one in the next class. It's supposed to show me, give me the name of the government scheme that has been encroached, that the encroachment contain. That means I will look at this relationship class if I have any mistake. Just as it give me for the parcel he encroached, which one. Can you see? So you identify that parcel. Let me close this so that you can see it clearly. So that is the essence of relationship class. You see now, that's identified. So the same way, by the time we launch or publish this thing, it can show us relationship. Oh, this person, oh, but he encroached by this so length. So that is what we have today. Thank you for listening. We meet next week for the remaining. Yeah. Good evening. Sorry. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So let me quickly go to the agenda. Sorry. We have talked about the data modeling overview. Sorry, I have a comment. We have talked about data modeling overview. We've talked about data sets, editing and cross-checking. Then we have also talked about database schema creation. Then loading data into your database. We've talked about these four, and including 5 also, that's subtype implementation. We've done that last week. So what we are left with is creation of relationship class and the launching our web as a web map and sharing it. So I will continue with the creation of relationship class. We started last week and we are able to create a class. So let me quickly launch my Arcgis Pro now. So we still have the data sent. So let me go to Geospatial on training. So if you have not logged in before, it will ask you for your login details. So this is our training. We don't let us not forget how we get this categorization is due to our subtype modeling that we have. So in our catalog here, or catalog as a whole, as being referred to in Arcgis Pro, you will see database, and you can see our database there. That's your spatial auth training database. Now, last week we are able to create some relationship class, but when we look at our model, let me show that model again. We discover that we have some relationship. I'm coming. I want to open up the, sorry. Open it. Okay. Now, I hope we can still remember this model. This is the model we are working with, and we want to create relationship. We can see that all the entity we have in this model are all connected to each other. Like parcel to encroachment, we have one-to-one relationship. Then we have one-to-many relationship with scheme. That is, there can be many encroachments in a scheme. So we have one-to-many relationship. Also, for block, an encroachment in a block, there can be many encroachment there. So we have one-to-many relationship also in this. So this one is angry. So also for parcel. Now, when we look at all these relationships, we have all to 6 in general. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want to create this relationship in our database. So the first one that we have created, let me go to Arcgis Pro. The first one created is encroachment parcel. Encroachment parcel, or parcel encroachment relationship. Now, I will delete this. It's like we have error in this that day. So let me delete this. We create another one. So I want to establish relationship between block and our encroachment. Block and encroachment. So what am I going to do? I will right click on my Geodatabase and go to new relationship class. It's been shown here. So under the origin table, I will choose, because I'm going to block now. Block, I want to establish relationship between block and our encroachment feature class. So my destination table will be encroachment. So you see, it give it name automatically for us, and the name is block encroachment. So the relationship there is simple. Then the forward part label is encroachment and blocks. So here we can go in both directions, from backwards or forward. So, and the cardinality, which is the relationship between them, is one-to-many. So I choose one-to-many. Then we now need to choose the primary key for the block. That's the block ID. Also, the foreign key, when you look at our table here, you see that foreign key, foreign key for blocks, this is block here, is also an estate ID. So, sorry. We see that we have estate ID, one of the foreign key. This foreign key to our, the foreign key 1 is the foreign key to our parcel. Foreign key 2 is encroachment link. So you see that we have block ID as the primary key, and it will be automatically a foreign key here. So we are going to establish that by choosing block ID. So we are done. We just click on run, and the process will run and create our relationship class. Then we can go back to our database. Going back to our database, you can see that we now have block encroachment relationship established. So if we want to confirm this, whether it's true or not, we can come to any of these encroachments which are in red, then go to select, can select any of the elements. So I select one of these. So I can go to attribute table here. Then go to the one I selected. This is the one I selected. Then I can go to show related data. See that under show related data, we have two things there. That extension that I select has a relationship with the parcel and also with the block. So if I want to check, I can check any of these. But now the one I just created is the block. Let me see. You see now, it's now pointing me to the block ID that is related to. So if you look at it very well here, you see now it's telling me that it belongs to this block ID. Let me drag this down. You see that he highlighted the block ID this extension belongs to. So that's the essence of relationship. So by the time we are working with our database, it automatically relates entity to an entity based on what we define in our relationship class. So let me quickly go to block and parcel also. Let me create another relationship class for block and parcel, which is also one-to-many. Relationship class, block and parcel. Select parcel here. Then see block parcel relationship. It's still simple. Then the forward is parcel, the backward is block. So the relationship can go in both directions. Then the cardinality is one-to-many. So then the primary key for block is still block ID, which is a foreign key to our parcel. So we can run now. So now we have done that. When you look at this place now, you can see that we have our block parcel relationship. So we have already done parcel encroachment relationship. So now let's go to scheme block relationship. All this is stated in this diagram. So I'm just not to waste our time, that's why I'm not referring to it. So the one I want to create now is scheme block relationship, because there is a relationship between the scheme and the block. So this guy is what I want to do now. this guy here. Don't know that I can paint it, but this is what I want to do now, this relationship here. So let me create it. New relationship class. I'm going from what? Scheme. I will select government scheme to block. So we have scheme block relationship. It's also simple. Then the backward is like that. They can go in both directions. Then the cardinality is 1 to many. So now the primary key will be estate ID, because every estate has its own estate ID. Then the foreign key will also be estate ID. The foreign is a foreign key to the foreign key to the block ID. So we can now run. So it has created for us a new relationship class. So we can close this geoprocessing to look at it. So we now have a block, a scheme block relationship, which is this. So anytime we select a block, it will tell us the scheme it belongs. So what next now? Now we have many relationship? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we still have 2 left. So we have a relationship between. I want to show us. We have relationship between scheme and encroachment. That is, this encroachment belongs to a particular scheme. So we have to establish this guy. So now let's go there. Just the same way, new relationship class. Then we select scheme, government scheme. Then we go to encroachment. So the message is in both directions. Then the cardinality is 1 to many. So estate ID. We have the estate ID as the primary key for our origin table, which it will become a foreign key for the destination table. So all is set. You can click on run. Then it creates another relationship for us. So let me quickly create the last one, which is scheme to parcel relationship. When we look at our table here, you see that scheme also has a relationship with the parcel, as you can see. So we want to create this last guy. So that's the last relationship we are having. So let me quickly do that. That's scheme to that's government scheme to parcel. Sorry, government scheme to parcel. So we have scheme parcel related. It's in both direction. So the primary key is the estate ID, which become a foreign key to the other table. So let me run it. So this gives us the last scheme. So let me close this geoprocessing. Now we have all the six. We have all the six relationships now. So let me test one of them. Let me clear my selection. So I have a fresh my map here, no selection make yet. So let me make a selection. Let me just select one of these. We have one of the plots. Let me select one of the plots. Then I can go to parcel attribute table. Let me look at what I select, which is the same thing. You can see. So I can go to show related data. This is where you see now. Immediately I choose show related data. You see that it's telling me it's related to encroachment, it's related to blocks, and it's related to government scheme. So whichever which one I want to have the information, I can click on it. Say encroachment. So this block have an encroachment. Let me look at it. Then it show me, oh, this is the encroachment. You see the encroachment link ID. You see the parent link ID, which is the link ID of this guy here, which is finished with 371. You see the link ID now. So that is how relationship works. So the next thing now we are going to do is actually to publish our map. Now, to publish our map, we must have an account with S3 online, because we want to publish this map online now. So, and there are simple way of doing it. You can see out of the menu we have share. So in this share, we have web map, new web map. So if you click on new web map, it will bring out all the tools that we need to launch our map. Now, it's asking, what name am I going to give this web map? So I can give it your special, which I will delete later, your special. So note that any publication you make on Arcgis online, it will consume your units. So you will have that at the back of your mind. So what is the summary of this? An encroachment project. So we can give it a tag. Let me make some of the names so that it won't take our time. You can give it a tag so that it can easily be searchable. So pass-through, let me give it pass-through also. Enter, you can give it a tag like that. Then copy all data exploratory. Just leave it as default like that. Now, who can see it? You see everybody that has the name that can see this thing, or only people who belong to your organization? So for now, I will still delete it. I will just say everyone. So I can choose folder from my organization. It loaded it automatically in my organization. But let me just choose the root. So I will go and delete it later. Then with that, I will analyze. And this analysis will point out if there is error in my map, and it will tell me to make correction to it. So let me analyze. Let's see if there's error. Actually, there will be, because we are coming from different relationship, sorry, from different coordinate reference. So same map does not contain a base map. That's the first error. You know, the base map I'm using is the one I customize. but they will want me to use one of their base map. So let me just add that. Let me add base map. Base map. The reason for this is that if my own server fails, web map cannot do without a base map. So their own base map will replace my own. So let me use their own here. Otherwise, it will still be, you see what imagery. So I have their base map also there together with my own. So that is done. I think the other error is minor. This is the major one. So let me analyze again to see I will still have error. See, it's not telling me layer does not have feature templates, which is minor. So I can share. I don't have major error, so you can share this map now. Choose share. So it's processing it. Oh, it's supposed to go to my organization. See, the process is still running clean. So let me go to my organization. Let me log into Arcgis online. Arcgis.com. So that I will be able to see what the map I just launched. Sign in. Sign in with my Google. Use another account. Let me use this. I don't know. So it's taking me to my organization account now. So let's see what's the process that is running. So see, we have a successful sharing of web map. So now we have a successful sharing. So I can go to E by clicking on this, since I'm already in my I've logged into my organization. So it's open my web map for me now. So if you check your organization also, you check content, you will see that you will have, you see what we just launched now. It's already in part of our content. So let me see how it looks. Open map view. So now, what next? After sharing it as a web map, you create a dashboard. I don't think we'll be able to talk about that today. So I just want to show us how to share our map. You see now, our map is coming up. So we can configure it, do our pop-up. Our pop-up will be loading. See now. So if I click on any of these, see, it's giving me the information about it. This is one of 3. Let me see. It's telling me the estate it belongs. I don't think we are seeing what I'm seeing now. You see now, it's telling me the estate it belongs. You tell me the blocks it belongs, because I have established a relationship. Now, let me zoom very well. Let me click on one of these. See, I click on this block now. This block. it will show me the information about this plot. Then it will show me related record. You see? Oh, does this plot have an encroachment? Let me see. Oh, he has an encroachment too. See the record of his encroachment coming up. So if I want him to show me that encroachment, let me just drag this so can be dragged. You see, it tells me it belongs to this purview, to this estate. You see, he has highlighted the estate. Then it tells me that it belongs to this block. You see, he highlighted the block. Then parcel. You can get the information for the parcel.
Yeah, just a minute. Paula, after this one, I think we can't finish this series today, right?
No, we can finish. We are already done. We've shared our map.
Okay. Now,
just in case people now have questions.
Log out. No, in case we are log out, so we will log in just to finish it up so that we can move to another one next week. Is that okay, everyone? So he said we are almost. So in case we are log out, you just log in maybe within 10 minutes. We are done. In case he is not done before we are logged out. It's okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we can see that our map is already online. So we can now use it for anything we want to use it for. If you are good in programming, you can create a customized application that will make use of your map, and you get access to all the database that is working underground at the background of this map. So that's the essence of creating a database able to relate a lot of information. So I don't know if there's a question for me to answer, but this is the end of this tutorial class. So Geodatabase is a complex thing. In fact, we have to do our own custom Geodatabase, but that will be in the advanced classes when we programming using Python or using Python and other web framework. But for now, this is basic. At least if you know this, you can create a dashboard online. So I think later on we have a tutorial on how to create a dashboard that people, your clients can use, and they can use it to interact with your map.